What's up guys, Kyle here again, and today we're taking a look at this little monster, the Mezzabarba Skill 30. Let's do it. Alright, hope you guys are doing great out there today. I know I'm already having a good time because I will tell you right off the bat, this amp sounds incredible. This is the Mezzabarba Skill 30. The Mezzabarba amps, to my knowledge, are supposed to be kind of like a take on an SLO, but voiced a little bit differently. That's just kind of what I've gathered from reading. There's not a lot of information out there on them, but I definitely get Soldano type vibes from this amp. This thing sounds absolutely massive for 30 watts. I've got the volume on just over 1 and it's loud, and there's plenty of headroom to go because I have played to see how loud I could get it, and this thing absolutely screams volume wise, game wise, everything. It's been a pleasure to play and own so far. I bought it sight unseen because I found a good deal on Guitar Center's used website, and you never see these come up, so I'm like, you know what, I really should jump on it. I was gonna buy it, resell it when I was done, but I don't think that I'm gonna be letting this thing go because it sounds absolutely incredible. So this is a 2-channel amp. The first channel is a clean / crunch channel. The second channel is a crunch / overdrive channel. So you can get all the way from pristine cleans on channel 1 to pretty heavy overdrive actually. Depending on what pedal you use out front, you can actually tighten it up quite a bit too. So I would say it gets a little bit above JCM 800 levels of gain or 2203 levels of gain. On that channel, you've also got a boost, and that's essentially what kind of kicks up the saturation on that channel, and a bright. I will tell you that this amp is already very, very bright, so you got to be careful with that switch. I have the presence dialed a little bit higher, and that's kind of how I tend to run my amps anyways, because I play in E standard, so you're already going to get a decent amount of treble as compared to when tuning down. So I usually run my treble back a little bit. On this amp, I have it dialed back between 3 and 4. That intro clip was with the Deadweald Duality DX. This amp, especially on the overdrive channel, takes boosts incredibly well. So we'll run through some of those boosts and everything first. There's also a power scaling option on the back. There is not a power scaling option on the back. For some reason, I thought this had a half power switch, but yeah, I get my amps confused sometimes. On the front, there is a power scaling pot. Now, what this does exactly, like circuit-wise, I don't really know. But Mezzabarba on their website has a description where essentially this power pot will allow you to kind of scale the power section to whatever volume you're playing. So if you want to play it quieter, you would turn that down and you could turn your overall volume up, and it saturates the power section a little bit more. It's basically meant to give you tonal flexibility at lower volumes, and it does work. It works well. So that's a cool feature. That's not something that you see on amps very often. My one gripe with this amp so far is that the channels are not switchable without the foot switch. I hate carrying extra stuff to practice if I don't have to. So the fact that you need the pedal to engage the overdrive channel kind of sucks in my opinion. Granted, they fit a lot of stuff in this small package, but I don't know what their reason for leaving the switch to switch channels off of the amp is, but you have to have the foot switch in order to do so. So keep that in mind. We're going to go over to the clean channel. I'm going to turn my boost off, and then we're going to do as we always do. We're going to set everything up at noon, and we're going to see how it sounds and start tweaking some knobs. All right, so we've got everything at noon across the board on the green channel. No outboard overdrives. The boost is off, and we're going to see how that sounds. Real quick before we do that, if this is your first time here at my channel, what I do is I run through awesome high gain amps, shootout cabs, try different pickups, overdrive pedals, basically anything high gain tone related. And I give you the audio that I capture and deliver it to you unfiltered, unprocessed. You're getting a completely unprocessed look at what whatever it is that I'm demoing, exactly how it sounds coming into the mic, into my interface with nothing done after the fact. So if you really enjoy hearing demos of high gain amps, awesome pedals, comparisons on cabs and stuff like that, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button after this video and consider subscribing so you don't miss the next one. With that out of the way, let's hear how this sounds. Pretty pristine clean. That's with the gain at 9 o'clock, or the drive as it's called on the amp. So here's the drive at noon. All right, so as you can hear, even with that drive halfway up, it's still real clean. Let's go up to 3 o'clock. Now we're getting some breakup. That actually is a really nice push clean sound. I dig it. All right, so we are going to dial that gain back. I don't really mess around with cleans on my channel, so I'm not gonna mess around with the knobs. We're just gonna kick that boost on, drive at 9 o'clock, and get the crunch sounds out of this thing. All right, so that's with the gain at 9 o'clock. Now we're up to noon. That sounds really good. That's some so really nice, like pushed plexi kind of breakup going on there. That sounds really good. Tune it up even more. The amp is getting very loud in the room. All right, so that's kind of very SLO type overdrive from everything I've heard from SLOs. It's almost like a jangly push clean. I'm gonna turn the volume down just a little bit. It sounds really good. It's got a lot of top end bite to it, so let's turn that treble down. All right, let's get a little bit more mid and a little bit less bass. That is a phenomenal crunch sound. That sounds so good. Oh, that is nice. That's really nice. Also, I have no idea if I played that right, and I don't really care. All right, so that sounds really, really good. Let's turn the depth up and the bass down a little bit and see if that tightens it. Not really. Let's go the opposite way. I would say the bass EQ definitely introduces some lower mids that make it sound a little bit flubbier. So it's tighter dialed in that way. Let's check out the power scaling. I've got it almost all the way up. Let's pull it back to -4. All right, so that takes away some of the volume and it also takes away some of the top end bite. Does the same thing there, and we got it all the way down now. All right, so it does scale the volume down quite a bit. Let's turn the actual channel volume up. So overall, turning the power scaling down, or whatever you want to call it, definitely seems to quiet the amp a little bit, but it sucks out a lot of the top end bite, which I personally don't like. So we've got it back to where it was before we started messing with the volume. So real quick, because I want to get to the overdrive channel, because that's where the amp is going to shine for me and my viewers. Let's kick a boost on in front of the drive channel and see how that sounds. Not too bad. It seems a little bit muffled to my ears, so let's turn up the presence. Let's get a little bit more bass in there. got a lot of gain for sure, but it's a little bit flubby. Let's turn the gain up a little bit more. If you're familiar with a dual rectifier, or you're a dual rectifier player, I would kind of liken the low end to that. It's not necessarily super loose, it's pretty big, but it just doesn't, it's not quick, you know what I mean? The speaker's excursion doesn't, you know what I'm trying to say. It's just not that tight. But anyways, we're going to engage the custom modified overdrive, and I am actually going to turn the bass knob down and leave the low mid bump off, and we'll see how tight we can get this channel. So not too bad. It tightens it up a little bit, but there's still a little bit of low end flub there. Okay, let's see what happens when I turn the depth up. All right, a little bit more bass. It's tighter for sure, but it seems to be lacking that low end push that I like. It's a good classic thrash tone, honestly, guys. I could get away with using that all day. Would it be my preferred choice? No, it does sound great, but I like something a little bit more modern and a little bit more tight and punchy in the low end. So we are, real quick for fun, gonna engage the red channel on the Duality, because that sounds like a great time to me. Okay, so the red channel on the Duality is the TC integrated preamp circuit and the TS9 stacked. So you're basically getting a stacked boost effect in front of this. We're gonna turn the gain down a little bit. All right, so if you don't have a Duality, you should probably run out and get that now because it makes mid-gain amp sound unreal. We're gonna go back to the regular modes. That was a lot of fun, by the way, if you can't tell, I was enjoying that. We're gonna go back to the regular modes on the Overdrive channel, put everything back at noon. We're gonna have some fun with that. I love amps. Okay, we are now on the Overdrive channel. Everything is at noon, no overdrives on. How's it sound? Kind of like the last channel, but a little bit more modern. It's got more upper mid emphasis and a tighter low end. Let's dial that gain up to noon. All right, so this channel definitely has a really bright top end thing going on, which is why I had the treble dialed down at the beginning of the video. I'm gonna do that again. We're gonna dial the overdrive up a little bit more. Very SLO-like. From everything that I've ever heard from an SLO, this reminds me very much of that. Let's turn up the middle. We're gonna turn down the bass and turn up the depth just a bit and turn up the presence just a bit. This amp doesn't even need a boost, guys. It sounds unreal just the way it is. This amp rules. One thing I will say, I don't think this amp would be great for a lead player because there is just so much top end brightness and it seems like it's really hard to kind of dial that out. Let's see how it sounds with the mid scooped out a little bit. I added some presence to compensate for the brightness that the middle took out. Wow. All right, even that sounds good. That's like a nice scoopy, a little bit more like modern new metal-y tone, but still not quite. Let's turn the treble up a little bit on that. Still a nice heavy high gain tone with no boost out in front. And it's got some room to go on the gain knob, so this thing sounds awesome. I'm gonna turn the mids back up, I'm gonna bring the treble back down, and we're gonna kick on the Duality once again because I love it so much. And we'll see how this thing sounds with a boost out in front. Turn the gain back down quite a bit. This thing reacts to a boost pretty well. It's so good. I'm not lying, guys. I'm having a lot of fun playing this amp. Unfortunately, I'm almost out of time, so let's see how it reacts. All right, so we are going to dial up a little bit more bass, bring those mids back. It's so good! I love it! Great job, Mezzabarba. Seriously, this is awesome. I'm gonna try this in tandem with my Spawn for my Bushido Code live rig because this might replace the Stealth. It might. All right, one more riff and we're done. This thing sounds incredible. It even sounds amazing when you drop it down to D. It almost has that 5150 kind of like wah sound going on. I'm super excited about this. This amp sounds good. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for me today. This has been the Mezzabarba Skill 30. I absolutely recommend this amp to anybody who can actually get their hands on it. It sounds incredible. It may become part of my live rig here in the near future. We will see. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, really appreciate it if you hit the like button on the way out, and consider subscribing to the channel. Would help me out. I'd love to have you guys here for the next one. Kyle here again. We'll see you very soon. Thanks, guys.